Welcome back to USA News Hub. Here, we bring you the latest updates, highlights, and breaking news from the world of sports. Stay tuned as we dive into today's top stories and key moments you don't want to miss. Get ready for an intense showdown as Paolini takes on Bencic in a must-win match for her shot at the WTA Finals. Who will come out on top? Paolini overcomes Bencic, can secure WTA Finals spot with victory against Rybakina Jasmine Paolini. Had to summon all of her grit to keep her hopes of qualifying for the WTA Finals Riyadh this week alive, coming through a 3-hour, 22-minute match to defeat number 6 seed Belinda Bencic. 5-7, 7-5, 6-3 in the AUX Ningbo Open quarterfinals. Paolini and Rybakina are both entered in next week's Torrey Pan-Pacific Open, while Andreeva would need a wild card to compete. For Bencic, an alternate position at the WTA Finals had still been a possibility ahead of the match. However, her loss combined with number 4 seed Ekaterina Alexandrova. 6-3, 6-3 win over McCartney Kessler meant that world number 10 Alexandrova was confirmed as an alternate. How are Paolini and Rybakina dealing with the pressure? After defeating Veronika Kudermetova in the second round, Paolini said she is trying not to think about Riyadh and instead focusing on the match at hand. She reiterated that after overcoming Bencic. "Of course it's in my mind, but when I step on court I try to think about the tennis," she said. "If I want to qualify, I have to play good matches, I have to win matches. It's not easy, but I try to focus on my tennis and let's see what happens." For Rybakina, who cannot seal her spot outright this week, even with a title, it's still too distant a goal. "I know for this I still need to win a lot of matches, not only here but also next week," she said. "I just try to finish the season as best as possible, but the most important is always to be healthy. This season has been very long and not that successful for me, but I still think pretty decent." Paolini leads their head-to-head 3-2, including a victory in their only completed match on hard courts to date, a 7-6, 5, 6-4 win at last year's WTA Finals Riyadh, their most recent encounter. Paolini wins longest match of her season. Paolini had to come from a set and a breakdown twice to stop Bencic, who served for the match at 5-4 in the second set. The match was the longest of Paolini's year, ahead of her 2-hour, 47-minute loss to Amanda Anisimova in the Beijing quarterfinals, and the joint 11th longest match of the WTA season overall. It was the first time Paolini had exceeded the 3-hour mark in over 3 years, since the 2022 Palermo quarterfinals, where she defeated Nuria Perez Diaz in 3 hours and 6 minutes. Bencic had been the victor in the year's longest match just one round previously, a 3-hour, 33-minute defeat of Yulia Starodetseva. On Wednesday, the Swiss player required a medical timeout down 4-3 in the decider, and ended the match with her movement visibly hampered. "One of the toughest matches I ever played, honestly," Paolini said in her on-court interview. "Belinda, she's an amazing player and a very good person. Today she deserved to win as well, so it was really tough. I'm happy I stayed there, because at the beginning I had too many mistakes. I couldn't find my best tennis, but then I just tried to stay there every point and turn the match somehow." 2 crucial marathon games. A fine lob enabled Paolini to take an early lead, and the number 2 seed held triple game point for 3-0, only to be denied as Bencic put together a 5-point run to get a foothold in the match. Though a sequence of 5 straight breaks towards the end of the first set increased the tension, ultimately Paolini was always chasing as Bencic delivered superior offensive tennis. Bencic struck 15 winners to Paolini's 7 in the opening set, and from 2-0 down 1-9 of the next 12 games to take a 2-1 lead with a break in the second set. The next game would be one of 2 key multi-deuce tussles in the second set, both of which Paolini won. Bencic held 5 points for a 3-1 lead, but was unable to get over the line. Unleashing with her forehand, Paolini navigated 8 deuces to convert her 5th breakpoint of the game. Bencic broke again at 4-4 but, serving for the match, was foiled by some of Paolini's best tennis, most remarkably, a flicked cross-court backhand angle from outside the tramlines to seal a love break. Another 7-deuce marathon followed, this time on Paolini's serve. The 29-year-old managed to fend off 6 break points in it, and held with 3 consecutive unreturned deliveries. Having lost 9 out of 12 games earlier in the match, Paolini ended up finishing it off by winning 9 out of 12 from 5-4 down in the second set. Bencic threw in an error-strewn service game to lose the second set, then faded physically towards in the closing stages as Paolini continued to surge. Here are all of 2025's 3-hour WTA main draw matches so far, as of October 17, 1. Belinda Bencic. D. Yulia Starodatseva. 5-7, 6-4, 7-5, Ningbo R2, 333. 2. Coco Gauff. D. Zheng Qinwen 7-6, 3, 4-6, 7-6, 4, Rome SF, 332. 3. Viktorija Golubic. D. Arantxa Rus. 7-5, 4-6, 7-6, 10, Cluj-Napoca R1, 330. 4. Maria Sakkari. D. Ashlyn Kruger. 7-6, 5, 6-7, 5, 7-5, Beijing R1, 329. 5. Ella Seidel. D. Beatriz Haddad Maya. 6-7, 4, 7-6, 3, 7-5, Seoul R2, 328. 6. Lucia Bronzetti. D. Zhu Lin 6-7, 6, 6-2, 7-6, 6, Cincinnati R1, 327. 7. Laura Siegemund. D. Tatiana Maria. 7-5, 6-7, 6, 7-6, 2, Montreal R1, 326. 8. Tatiana Maria D. Chloe Paquette. 6-7, 5, 7-5, 6-4, Bogota R1, 325. T9. Alexandra Sasnovich. D. Varvara Gracheva. 6-4, 6-7, 5, 7-6, 8, Wimbledon R1, 324. T9. Lois Boisson. D. Dalma Galfi. 7-6, 6, 5-7, 6-2, Beijing R1, 324. T11. Gao Xinyu D. Beatriz Haddad Maya 5-7, 6-4, 7-5, United Cup RR, 322. T11. Jasmine Paolini. D. Belinda Bencic 5-7, 7-5, 6-3, Ningbo QF, 322. T13. Daria Kasatkina. D. Peyton Stearns. 7-6, 7, 4-6, 7-5, Brisbane R2, 321. T13. Ludmila Samsonova. D. Jessica Pegula. 6-7, 8, 7-5, 7-6, 5, Berlin R2, 321. T13. Diane Perry. D. Tara Worth. 7-6, 9, 3-6, 7-5, Hamburg R1, 321. T16. Emma Navarro. D. Peyton Stearns 6-7, 5, 7-6, 5, 7-5, Australian Open R1, 320. T16. Wang Xinyu D. Jill Teichmann. Leila Fernandez D. Elena Rybakina. That's all for today's update on USA News Hub. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with the latest sports news and highlights from around the world.